Welcome to DWBIADDA channel. Please subscribe for latest training videos.
Hi everyone, today we are going to discuss about Azure function. This is going to be a continuation video for the Azure function. So if you remember in the previous video, we have discussed how to create an Azure function using the portal.azure.com. And when we are discussing about the Azure function, we have seen that we can create a Azure function with a Visual Studio Code or a Visual Studio editor. So in this video, we will be going to see how we can go and create an Azure function using a Visual Studio Code. So Visual Studio Code is a source code editor developed by Microsoft for Windows, Linux, and Mac OS, and it's an open source. So let me go into the code.visualstudio.com, and you can go and download the Windows version or a Mac or a Linux version. So in my case, I already downloaded the Windows version of this Visual Studio Code, and it's been installed, and you can see here in my local machine it has been up and running. Or you can go and use the cloud version of the Visual Studio Code. Microsoft have recently announced the Visual Studio Online. It's a cloud version of that. So let me go and start this cloud version of Visual Studio Code. And it's fetching my subscription. So for that you need a valid subscription to use the cloud version of Visual Studio Online. And if you see that I have a pay-as-you-go subscription, and I am running this Visual Studio in the Southeast Asia location, and I already have an dev environment is been available. If you want to create an environment, you can go and create an environment to use the Visual Studio cloud version. So let me go and log in into this dev region. And if you see here, my Visual Studio online Visual Studio is being opened, and I can able to access the Visual Studio Code here. So here, if you see that Visual Studio come up with a search option, and it is integrated with a source control. You can source control like Git, and you can able to debug your application with a different runtime in a .NET Core or a Node or whatever language runtime if you want to. So everything you want to have an extension. So if you see there is an extension here. So in the extension, I'm going to search for the Azure function. So because I'm going to create for an Azure function using the VS Code. So I'm going to search for the Azure function here. So I'm going to install this Azure function extension into my online Visual Studio Code. So once it is been installed successfully, it will ask to reload your VS Code. So let me go and reload this Visual Studio Code online. And once your Visual Studio Azure function is being successfully installed, you can see the option to create a function. So if you see here, there are two more icons been appear about the Azure and the Remote Explorer. So let me go into the Azure, and here if you see that you can able to create a new project, and you can able to create a function, and you can go and deploy your Azure function. So let me go and create a new Azure function. So when you click on the create new function, it will expect what's the type of function. You can go and select the template. When we discuss in the portal, we see about this different templates Microsoft is going to be provide. Like if you want to create a HTTP trigger function, or a blob trigger, or a Cosmos DB trigger, or a Q trigger. So in this case, I'll be going to create an HTTP trigger function. Name it as HTTP, let it be there as a HTTP C#2 as my HTTP trigger function. So let me go and provide the namespace. So I'm fine with the company.function namespace. And I'm going to the access right. You can go and put the access as anonymous, admin, or the function. So I'm going with the function level. So it's going to create my function HTTP trigger function. So if you see that it's successfully created my HTTP trigger function. So I name it as a HTTP trigger C#2 function. And if you see that it's a simple HTTP trigger function, it is expecting a name in the query string and appending that with an hello and return it back. So you can go and debug this Azure function in your in your VS Code, and you can go and version control this function app in a Git repo. If you have a Git repository in Azure repo, you can go and version control it. So, or you can go and debug this. So in this case, I have selected the C# as my runtime. So you need to attach a .NET function. C# extension need to be installed to debug this Azure function. So now let's go and deploy this Azure function into my Azure portal. So before that, I'm just going here in the portal.azure.com. So I'm going into the function app. And if you see that I don't have any existing function here, so I'm going to deploy this function from my VS Code. Let me click the deploy option here, and it will expect you, do you want to create a new function app? So I want to create a new function app. So let me select the new function app. So it will expect a name. So let me name it as my function VS Code as the app name. Let me enter that. So next it will go and ask you what is the region you want to use. So I'm going to create this Azure function in the East US location, and in the bottom you can see it is going to create a resource, and it is going to create a storage account, and it is going to create an application insight and app plan. So we see that when we are creating this Azure function from the portal, for creating an Azure function, so it will create a storage account, app service plan, and an application insight to monitor your Azure function. So let's wait this Azure function creation is been successful, and we'll come to this portal.azure.com and see whether the function is been deployed successfully here in the portal. And if you see in my terminal, so my deployment is in progress, and if you go and expand your subscription, you can see this my function VS Code that is being created successfully. And if you see, my deployment to my function code is being completed now. So now let me go into the portal and see whether my function is being deployed successfully or not. So let me go into the portal.azure.com, refresh this function app page, and if you see that my function VS Code is being deployed successfully in the East US location. So let me go into the resource group and see my storage and other dependency for this function app is been created successfully or not. So if I go into my resource group, it has created an app service plan, as name is as East US plan, and it's created an application insight, and then a function storage account, and a function app service. So let me go into this my function VS Code, and if you see that it's provided an URL to access your function code, and if you see my HTTP trigger C#2 function is been created successfully here. And you can go and create a new function in the portal, and you can still go and see that function in your VS Code as well. And you can go and link multiple subscription here, and you can see the resources here from your VS Code. The advantage of using a VS Code, you may get an code editor. You can go and put a breakpoint and debug and make sure everything is been working fine, and you can go and deploy that into your portal. So that's all about the Azure function app creating using a Visual VS Code. So we'll be discussing more Azure function in the upcoming video. Thank you.